Hello everyone, welcome back. Today it's Mosin Nagant versus half-inch of mild steel. Let's go downrange and look at that mild steel. Okay, so here's our mild steel plate. It's a half-inch thick. That shot you see over there was the green tip that I shot at it. I did a whole video on that. We got some good penetration. We'll measure it again. So what I want to do today is I want to shoot the Mosin Nagant, and I'm also going to shoot a 308 at this, and we're going to do a comparison. All right, so let me give you guys a closer look at this Mosin Nagant. Okay, so one of the cool things about this one is that this is actually a weapon of war. Okay, this was built for combat. This probably went into combat. Is there a date stamped on this? The Russians were pretty good about doing that. Yep, right there, 1942. It's kind of faded, but it says it right there, 1942. So unlike modern AR-15s and AR-10s that basically are built to be sold to the civilian market, this is an actual weapon of war. And a lot of times, a lot of the libs, they forget that almost all guns were developed for war, going way back all the way to the flintlocks and even the matchlocks before that. Okay, they were developed for war, and then they say, hey, what else can we do with this? Oh, it might be useful for hunting. So a couple of interesting features on this. First of all, barrel length. I did not remember, so what I did is I closed the bolt and I ran a rod down there, and I've already marked it to where it stops. So let's see what the length of the barrel is. So length of the barrel is 28 3/4 inches. 28 3/4 inches. And what's interesting, I also happen to have the bayonet that fits on top of this thing. So this thing becomes a real spear once you detach the bayonet on top of this. I did not have the bayonet, otherwise, at this location. Otherwise, I would have done that for you guys. Now, if you look at this leaf side over here, it goes all the way up to 2,000 meters, right? Because it's in meters, which is complete nonsense. Put this down for a second. I did a 5-shot group at 30 yards. Okay, so the reason why I did that 30 yards is, first of all, I got that steel plate out there, and I needed to know where to aim because obviously it's got fixed sights on it. I probably did sight it in because I got the tool sight in like some 10, 12 years ago, but I didn't remember how good of a job I did, whatever. So I needed to put out a bullseye out there to see exactly where this thing would impact, so I would know where to hold on that plate at 30 yards. So at 30 yards, right, and at 30 yards, man, I can see the irons. Obviously, I can see the iron sights pretty good. I can see the target really good. I can hold like perfectly underneath it. There's like zero chance for error. And even if I were to pull it, it's not gonna, at 30 yards, it's not gonna make a difference. So at 30 yards, we got a 3-inch group. Okay. A 3-inch group at 30. It's actually just a tad bit, 3 1/4 inch group. I'm gonna just go with 3 inches at 30 yards, which is abysmal. So that works out to 10 MOA, right? 10 minutes of angle. If I would shoot this at 100 yards, the group would open up to 10 inches. I'm not doing it with the iron sights because, first of all, my eyes aren't that great. So that's why I wanted to do it at 30 yards, because I know I can see the bullseye, I can see the sights, I know I'm going to get the most accurate representation by doing this at 30 yards and then just extrapolating to 100 yards, which would be 10 MOA. So what this also tells us, and it's not the rifle, it's probably the ammunition, because this ammunition is they're probably just dumping the gunpowder in there, and they probably got very wide tolerances. So I doubt it's the rifling or anything to do with the barrel. I'm pretty sure that it's just the ammunition being inconsistent. But this is like typical ammunition that you'll be able to get for a Mosin Nagant. It's a 7.62 by 5.4R. Okay, 7.62 by 5.4R. The R is important. So yeah, it's the ammunition that's the issue here, not the gun itself. So with this ammunition, which is pretty standard, which at one point I was bulk buying this. I think they used to sell these like in 400 round crates. So I actually have a couple of those. With the typical ammunition that you're going to be able to get for your Mosin Nagant, you're looking at 10 MOA, which means that the max effective range of the Mosin Nagant is 200 yards, right? Because at 200 yards, this 10 MOA is going to open up to 20 inches, which is about the width of a man. So that's as far as you can expect to shoot, like, accurately, okay? 200 yards. Versus AR-10 that I got here, this is a 1 MOA rifle, right? So that will, like, and I've actually shot it at 1,000 yards. At 1,000 yards, I got 9 out of 10 hits at 22 inches. So that's like a 2.2 MOA. So AR-10 accurate out to 1,000 yards, and obviously it'll go past that. Of course, the ammunition wasn't match grade, but it was just better quality ammunition. So the ammunition plays a big role. But anyway, let's shoot this. Let's clear off this table a little bit. Let me get the scale off of the table. Oh, the scale. I want to weigh this too. So let's get the scale back on. So this rifle weighs in at 9 pounds 5 ounces. All right, 9 pounds 5 ounces, which kind of surprised me that this is so heavy. This 20-inch AR-10 here without the scope weighs in at like 9 pounds 3 ounces. Okay, so the AR-10 over here is I was surprised that it's actually lighter. Anyway, let me get something off of the table here. Hold on. Back table. Scope off here because I don't want to lose that. Alright, so let's get the ammo open. So that's the ammo. So it's actually water sealed, front and back. And it looks like this. The casing, instead of brass, it looks like it's copper. So that's interesting. Let me get behind the camera, make sure you guys get a good view of that. So it's very long. So this was at the time, this was very comparable to the 30-06. Right, so we're going to take one shot at that steel plate. I should be able to hit it first round out because that is bigger than 2 inches. We shall see. Oh, by the way, as far as bolts, I was watching a very interesting video today of an Enfield, which is also a bolt action rifle. And one of the cool things of the Enfield versus, let's say, other bolt action rifles is that the bolt was actually far enough back that I was watching somebody shoot it, and they were holding the bolt with these 2 fingers, right? So working the bolt, and the bolt was like off the side. They were working the bolt, right? And they would close it, and then they would fire with the middle finger, okay? And what that allowed them to do is work the bolt, close it. I can't reach it because of the position here. So they could rapid fire the bolt and hit the trigger with the middle finger. So I thought that was a really cool aspect of the Enfield. And the other cool thing is with the Enfield, what they were doing is you could work the bolt without covering up your iron sights. So the guy was like just keeping his finger here, working the bolt, shooting, working the bolt, shooting. So he was able to rapid fire his bolt action rifle. Not something yet you can do with this just because of the way that the bolt is set up and the way it interferes with the iron sights. And the bolt handle is so far forward that I can't reach the trigger with my middle finger when the bolt is fully closed. So yeah, wait, let's get around in there. Oh, interesting feature of this. For the fucking Soviets, they put a steel plate back here, man. Like as if though this thing, you know, doesn't recoil enough, they put a steel plate in back there just to make sure that you really feel it. Now, of course, this is, I think, more intended for hitting people in the face with it. Oh, let me do this before I close it. Let me shift the camera a little bit. Pause, you guys. All right. Let's see if I can hit that plate in the first shot. I think I might have hit low. See, I think I hit the very bottom. We can put one more shot on that. Hold on. Hey guys, we got a freaking amazing hit on this shit, man. Oh man. So this one up here is from the green tip, and that one there is from the Mosin Nagant, man. Okay. And on this half-pinch steel, it actually bulged out the back. So you guys can see it. It bulged out the back. See how thick the steel is. The steel is 0.0525, okay? All right, so it's just a little bit more than half an inch. Oops. And it's actually bulged it out in the back. Let's see how deep we got into this. Put it on the side. It's a little clumsy. So we got so we got more than half an inch of penetration. We got 0.0560. Okay, so of course that's represented because of the bulge that we got in the back. Okay, the way it pushed out on this mild steel. And the other thing that's happened here is that it created a crater over here. You see the crater? Right, so that's also adding a little bit to the depth. Let's see how deep the crater is. So the crater itself is about 0.0134. Right, 0.0134. So between it cratering out. If I really wanted to measure, I'd have to like use an angle grinder and grind it down. But I kind of like the way this thing is like sunflowering, so I'm going to keep the steel just like that. So between that and it, let's see if we can get a measure how far it. Stay still. Try to get a sense. Well, actually, let's do it this way. Let's see how thick the steel is now that we have a crater. Wait, can I measure it? Well. I can't go exact because basically the crater is interfering on the other side, so I can't do it that way. Let's see if I can do it this way. This might end up being the best way to do it. So on the that's the best way to kind of do this. So on the back side, it cratered out a 0.0124. Okay, so that's how far the steel pushed back on the outside. So that is like super cool, man. Hold on. I fucking love this shit. So yeah, we got now every time I take a measure it's going to be slightly different because the way this thing like flower petaled out is not going to be even on all sides. So yeah, the depth of this is 0.5. Hold on. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560. 0.0560 almost 0.6 the way I just measured it. It almost came through, man. A little bit more and it would have came through. All right, so that's a point. This time I measured at 0.0598. Wait, in the camera, yeah. So this is the green tip up here. When we measured the green tip was about a 0.0334. Okay. So now here's the thing I have to say with the green tips. I mean, given that you have a much lighter bullet in a much lighter rifle, I mean, extremely efficient. You know, you're getting really damn good results. But if you absolutely got to get in, you know, as deep as you can into armor, I mean, yeah, this Mosin Nagant, you know, I mean, half inch. I mean, it almost made it through, man. Almost. If this was like a 0.45 inch or 40% of an inch, instead of a half an inch, we would have got through the steel. Anyway, let's fire the 308. Let's see what that looks like. Let me set the tripod up again. All right, so we're using the 20-inch AR-10 versus the 15-inch. I figure with the 20-inch, might be a little bit more comparable. And since I don't have a 28-inch AR-10 barrel, okay. I'm going to try and hit this in the center. This way we can see all three shots of the steel. The parallax adjustment. So this is interesting. So the crosshairs on this are black, right? And they're thin lines. So against the black target, I can barely see the crosshairs because it's a first focal plane scope and those crosshairs are that thin. Let's see if I go up in magnification. Yeah, because I was going to shoot in 5 magnification, but yeah, if I go up in, okay, if I go up to 10, right? Because it's a 5 to 25. What is it? Yeah, 5 to 25. The crosshairs blow up enough that I can actually see them. Hit a little bit lower than I wanted to, but that's fine. It's not, as long as it's not on top of the other shot. All right, let me go get that. Move this because we're going to put the plate there. Let me go get that plate there. All right, so it hit a little bit lower than I was aiming like up here. So initially I had a 50-yard zero on this, but then I went out to 200 yards and I really dialed it in. So I guess at 30 yards, instead of it being 1 inch low, because that's what I was expecting, it was about 2 inches low. Initial impressions. Make sure I got you guys in the camera. Initial impressions on the back side. The bulge on the back, which is that one over there. But get you back in the camera. Right there. Initial impressions, the bulge in the back seems bigger with the 308 versus the 7.62x54R. The bulge in the back looks bigger. Looking straight down at it, the crater with the 308, which is that one, it looks wider. Okay, it looks wider, but the Mosin looks deeper, but that might be just an illusion thing just because it's a small hole. Let's actually measure it with the calipers. Okay, see me on the camera. Okay, right there. All right, calipers. Let's go make sure that was zeroed. Oh, I think I just moved it a little bit. Right there. Okay, it was 0 there. Okay, so let's look at the depth. So it's interesting. The crater is actually wider than this, because on this one it wasn't. And I was able to stop on it. This crater is actually a little bit wider. So it looks like it is a 0.0547. So I think that's deeper. Try the other one. Yeah, it's deeper. Well, depends. Again, it's kind of sunflowered out, so it depends on. Like, see if I can kind of find the lowest point on this. Yeah, I'll try to find the lowest point on both of them. So that's the Mosin. 0.05. I guess 39. Let me see if I can find the lowest point. Yeah, I guess that's it. At the lowest point, the depth is about the same. So yeah, every time I measure, it's going to be just slightly off. So this time, this is on the 308, a 0.05. What is that? 14. So I'd say, yeah, it's about the same. Because like I say, it's not, the flower petals aren't smooth. So depending on how I drop it in there, yeah, they're the same. So they're about the same. But on the back side, it's interesting how that worked out. Let's take a look at the, get this up a little bit more. Try to see measure the crater out. The back side. Now, this is a very wide crater. So. Yeah, definitely, no question, it cratered out a little bit more on the backside. I can go back and forth between these two, and I can see a gap. Like, there's a very visible gap. I mean, even without the calipers, I can tell that it's cratered out a little bit more. So the 308 cratered out about 0.01, 66. So yeah, let me take this camera off the tripod. You guys can give you guys a couple of more views on it. There you go. This should give you a couple more views. So up here, that's the green tip, 556. There's a 308, and that's the Mosin Nagant 762x54R. I mean, without a question, I mean, the crater is bigger. Hold on, let me just measure the size of the crater. Might as well measure all three sides. So that one, we got the 0.0750 ish. This one's a little bit smaller. You can see the gap right there. So this one measures 0.69, 0.0686 or something. And let's look at the crater from the green tip. That one is a 0.0651. Actually, the 51. The green tip and the Mosin Nagant, the width of the crater is about the same. The 308 being a little bit wider, which also means that I mean, I can see that it's wider. I can see that it's wider going in, like all the way in. So it definitely moved more material. So it pushed more material. The 308 pushed more material out the back. It moved more material to the side, or where the frick it went. I guess. So the 308 definitely put more energy into this. One of these days, if I get some If I get a sunny day, I'm gonna run this through a chronograph, and I think I've done this before. Actually, let me go check my notes on 762 by 54R. I think I might have taken a chronograph reading at some point. All right, so now things are starting to make some sense, okay? Because these chronograph readings I probably took about 10 years ago. Keep them in this book over here. So on the Mosin Nagant, it looks like I've done it twice. It might have been like two different ammunition cans. Okay, so on one reading, on one occasion that I did it, I got 2352. Okay, out of that 20-inch and almost 29-inch barrel. That's what I get. That's the energy that I get out of my 308, out of my AR-10 in the 16-inch barrel. Okay, so the 16-inch AR-10 is giving me the same energy that this 29-inch Mosin Nagant's giving me. Again, that's ammunition, because I mean, I can take. I've shot. If I shoot like Tula through, if I shoot Tula in the AR-10, the energy is going to fall into the 1700s. Okay, so big difference what ammunition you're using. Okay, so there's a good chance that if we were to find some other Mosin Nagant ammunition, the energy number might jump way up, like close to 3,000. Okay, which is where I would expect it. I just don't think that the Russians had an incentive to load the ammunition that hot. Given, like we said earlier, it's basically a 10 MOA rifle. Anything past 200 yards, you're just sending, because at 200 yards, that's the best that you can do with this ammo as far as hitting a man-sized target. It doesn't seem like they had an interest in developing the ammunition to better accuracy standards so that they could reliably hit be past 200 yards, which makes me wonder, the snipers that had like the Mosin Nagants with the scopes on them, did they get better ammunition? Okay, did I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's one of the things that, or were they just hitting? Were they just working within 200 yards? Right, because that's the other possibility. The Russian snipers were either had better ammunition so that they could shoot past 200 yards, right, or they were using the same ammunition and all their hits were inside of 200 yards. I don't know the answer to that. If anybody knows the answer to that, please let us know. So yeah, so this Mosin Nagant with one ammo can, it was getting 2352. Okay, here, you guys. With one ammo can, it got 2352, and then with another ammo can, and I don't know whether it was the same day or a couple months later, it got 2433. Okay, you can see the velocities there: 2675. 26, 27, 21. The bullets were 148. I suppose I'm pretty sure that I actually pulled the bullets and weighed them. Oops, I'm way down over there. I'm pretty sure I pulled the bullets and weighed them at 148 grains. Right, so you can see the velocity for the first one was 2675. The velocity for the second one was 2721. There's probably a lot of variance, because again, because the groups were so wide that we saw. That's an indication that just the velocity can be anywhere from 25, 2500 all the way up to 2700. All right, so you got like a variance here of almost 200 feet per second. So that's going to give you those 10 MOA groups. Okay, that wide variance. So this is an ammunition problem. This isn't a gun problem. Right? This is an ammunition problem, and we can see the numbers right here. Absolute proof in these wide variances of 200 feet per second. So 2433 on the high end as far as energy, which basically that's what my AR-10 is getting out of a 16-inch barrel. Okay, so interesting. All right, so let's do a little shooting. We got some ammo here. Let's blow up the Mosin Nagant and dump some rounds out there. With my ears. This shit's gonna hurt a little bit, but I don't pull out this Mosin Nagant very often. And the thing with the Mosin Nagant is that when you the primers are corrosive, right? Not the gunpowder, but the primer. So after you shoot this, you got to clean the gun, right? So that these primers don't start eating away at the steel in the bolt. So I'm committed to cleaning the gun now anyway. I do have stripper clips for this, because they had stripper clips that you would put here. I didn't have a whole lot of luck with it. When I tried to use the stripper clip, I just got stuck. All right, let's see how fast I can get these 5 shots off. You guys in position? You see me? You should be able to. Come over here. Okay, ready? Here we go. So that's interesting. What's interesting here is that when I was shooting this benched, right, to try and get that 10 MOA group, right, that super accurate 10 MOA group, I could feel it beating me up a lot more. Now I'm not feeling it as much, probably because I'm standing and my body is absorbing more of the recoil, versus if you're like sitting and leaning into it. It's you know, basically the gun is more solidly braced up against you. So I'm aiming at a rock over there that I'm trying to break up. Okay, I mean, it's got like, you know, so there's a rock, a big rock over there. It's just gigantic in front of the berm over there, and I can't break it with a machine. So I'm hoping after a few thousand rounds they'll start cracking. So let's see, we got any more in here? I said I have not shot this in a while, so. I mean, the rock that I'm aiming is about this big, and I'm hitting it every time. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, I'm working at 30 yards, but I mean the accuracy is good enough. I mean, I can see why the Soviets were satisfied with this. We got here last 4 rounds. The bolt action, not bad. You gotta slap. I mean, you gotta hit that bolt. I've trained over the years. I have trained people on this gun, and if you try to, especially if you, yeah, let me put one in there. If you're trying to load a round, right? See, you're gonna get see how it gets stuck. You gotta, you know, you gotta hit it. Like when I was shooting earlier, I wasn't getting stuck like that. If you try to go slow with it, with feeding this, yeah, you're just gonna get jammed up. If you're, you know, if you're handling the gun like a man, you're not gonna have a problem. So this is a man's gun, okay? Oh, I just saw a piece of rock come up. So I'm starting to feel, you can see the barrel smoking. And I'm starting to feel some of the heat transfer through the wood, especially on the top side here. Not so much the bottom, but the top side. Starting to feel some of that heat transfer up through the wood. I mean, for its day, I mean, this was a good gun. The only thing, well, it was good. It actually has a. Somebody once described this rifle as having a very complex bolt. I mean, the rifle itself is pretty simple. It's basically a tube, but the bolt is you know, it's a nice piece of engineering. And there's actually a safety on this. You pull this back and you turn it to the side. That's how you engage the safety. You pull it back and you engage to the side. Right now the safety is activated. And the guy that sold me the gun told me that was I bought this at a gun show. I mean, not one of the imaginary gun shows that the Democrats talk about where you don't have to go through a background check. I mean, this is more of the normal, the regular gun shows where, yeah, the vendors make you do a background check. Unfortunately, because I shouldn't have to go through a background check. Yeah, the guy pointed at, this was like, we're going back to like sometime between 2008, 2008-ish now, 2009-ish, maybe 2010. They were bringing in a lot of these. I think I got this for like $150. They were selling them as cheap as $100, maybe even cheaper, $75. You know, this one for the $150. This came with the bayonet and it came with the cleaning kit, so it was a complete package. So that's why I opted to take the $150 ones. I got two of them. I bought them at different times. The other one that I have, this one we said was from 1942. The other one's like from 1939. The quality on it is a little bit better, I think. Just the way, I mean, it's not that this one's bad, but the finish on it is a little bit better because I guess the Russians hadn't been invaded yet by the Germans. So it seemed like it seems like with the later ones they're rushing them a little bit more. So I've just seen like some, like when I compare the two side by side, the older one looks like it's just a little bit more refined, not by much, but just a little bit. Oh, by the way, as far as what I normally do with this is, because when you rack this, basically I've charged it. So rather than dry firing it, what I'll do is I'll put my middle finger here, and then close the bolt. And so I'll hold my finger back as I close the bolt. And the other interesting thing with this is to get the bolt out. I forget what you gotta do. You got you gotta hold the bolt back. Yeah, you hold the bolt back. Yeah, I'll show you guys the bolt. I haven't done this in so long that it's like I'm kind of remembering this as I'm doing the video. But this is the bolt. If you turn this to the side, this thing comes into like 3 parts, which I'm not going to do now because I'm standing on gravel and I don't want to start losing stuff that's like the same color as this. So this bolt is actually a nice piece of engineering that the Russians / Soviets did. Oh, same deal. You gotta hold the trigger back to put this in. There you go. Yeah, so hold this. But I really like that Enfield design I saw this morning, where you can work the trigger with your middle finger while working the bolt up here, and you can come up, boom, boom, while staying on your sights. So the Enfield design like totally like kicks ass. But this is a pretty nice design though. I mean, the 2,000 yards of rear sight is like completely ridiculous. And like I said, based on the ammo that we're looking at today, this is 10, you know, this is like a 200-yard gun. Let's do this because hold on, let me get the ammo. For comparison's sake, let's also shoot the AR-10 now. Normally I do, like, these are 20-round boxes, and what I normally do is because I usually do like 5-round groups, so I shot one before onto that steel plate, so I got 4 rounds here. Let's just shoot these 4 rounds off. Aiming at that same rock that I'm trying to break up. Can you guys even see the rock? Yeah, it's in your field of view. I want to do this. actually, let's shoot at this. So this is what we're going to do with this. So this is, right now, this is a 5-25 scope. I've got the red dot here matched up with my left eye. So the way this works is with my left eye, I can see through the red dot, and then right eye looks through the scope. That's how I'm able to get on target, like at long distances. You know, first I'll look at the pistol optic, get that on target, and then when I transition to the scope, I'm on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to shoot 4 rounds just using the pistol optic. So the pistol optic that's on it is like, it's not so much meant for CQB. It's meant to help me get my reticle on target at distance faster. But it's pretty useful if you find yourself in a CQB type of situation. You know, with a 20-inch AR-10. That's a lot easier, a lot less recoil. Even though this had more power, this is a 20-inch barrel, so this has like close to 2,600 foot-pounds, 25 to 2,600 foot-pounds, depending on the energy, because the recoil spring picks up a lot of that recoil, right? That absorbs a lot of it, and also this has an adjustable gas system, so I have it set to a very low gas setting. That also picks up a lot of the recoil. So, I mean, this is a baby gun. Even though it has more power, the recoil is like so much smoother, so much nicer. That Mosin, like, I didn't feel it so much when I was standing, but when I was sitting, doing that 3-shot group, this 5-shot group I did over here, where I was like benched, that was painful, okay? Because I'm leaning into the gun. Let's get the, because even though I got this wonderful, this right now, this is like my sniper rifle configuration, you know? Let me call this, or garrison gun configuration. So this has the 5-25 scope on a 20-inch stainless steel barrel. So basically, I'm not using this unless I'm shooting 1,000 yards. Okay? I built this to be a 1,000-yard gun. I've done a number of videos on that. Let me get the other upper. So this is my 16-inch upper. And this is now what lives on this lower. At some point, I might get another lower, get its own lower, but this is the battle rifle configuration. This has a 1-to-10 scope. So because it goes down to 1 power, so that's why I'll call this a battle rifle configuration. You know, pretty short, pretty light. Absolutely loving this. I'm loving this setup. If at some point I get like a 12 or 13-inch, what I would do with that is I would put a red dot with a magnifier on that. If at some point down the road, I'm in no rush to do that. That would be that, because this is like really practical. This, like I said, this gets 2,400 foot-pounds of energy with the right ammunition. Going down to the 20-inch, that's like, now I'm really like, just playing games. I mean, I should be able to get, with the same ammo, I should be able to get to about 2,000 foot-pounds. But if I do that, I'm going to put a red dot and magnifier on that, which is what I originally had on the 20-inch, just to test it out. And it worked pretty good. I had gotten out to, on this 20-inch barrel, I had gotten out to like 500 yards, right? And I put up a video on that. So red dot magnifier works pretty good after 500 yards. But I just feel that with this scope on it, I just got so much more capability. I can really harness the full capability of this. I got like I said, I got 22 inches at 1,000 yards with this, and if I could find like a 1,200 yard range, I mean, I would take this to a 1,200 yard range, and I have confidence that I would get hits at 1,200 yards with this. So anyway, today's video is basically focused on the Mosin Nagant, which I gotta go clean now. So really cool. I mean, for $150, this was bargain at the time. I just wish that the Russians had fit this in such a way that you could easily mount an optic on this, right? Because the scopes that they mounted on this would be, they'd have to basically screw into this area here, into the upper receiver, and it had to be offset a little bit, like the Oswald gun. That was whatever that was. It was a Carcano. That had to be offset a little bit to the left in order to be able to work the bolt. But the nice thing about the offset is that you still got use of your iron sights. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to y'all soon.